Have you ever had that feeling that you never quite fit into this world? As if, no matter how hard you tried, there was something different about you, something that bothered certain people without any logical explanation. Perhaps you have already realized that certain events in your life are not mere coincidences. There are times when it feels like invisible forces are guiding you, showing you a path that not even you fully understand. If this resonates within you, know that it is not by chance. There are signs, discreet to the world, but powerful to those who know how to see them. These signs don't appear for everyone. They are reserved for those who have been called to something greater, something divine. These people are the chosen ones, separated since the beginning of time to fulfill a purpose that transcends the ordinary. And the most surprising thing, you can be one of them. Pay attention, because what I'm about to reveal now could transform everything you believe about yourself. I'm going to show you 7 invisible marks that only the chosen bear, and the last of them is the most revealing of all. It can be the definitive confirmation that you were set apart for a great purpose. Since the beginning of humanity, God has called specific people to fulfill purposes that impact not only their own lives, but the history of humanity. Think of Moses, a man who felt incapable but was raised up to free an entire people. Or David, a simple shepherd who became king. And what about Jesus' disciples? None of them were perfect or extraordinary in the eyes of the world, but they were chosen to change everything. The difference between these people and others was not in their intelligence, their talents, or their social position. What differentiated them was something much deeper, a spiritual mark that made them stand out from the crowd. The Apostle Paul described this truth clearly when he wrote in Ephesians 1:4, "He chose us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and blameless before him." This means that before you were even born, God already had a plan drawn up for your life. Your existence is not accidental, and your calling does not depend on what you have done or failed to do. But there is an important detail. This calling is not something you can achieve through your own efforts. It is not given to just anyone, nor can it be forced. It simply manifests itself. Sometimes in subtle signs that only the chosen ones can perceive. Other times in events that seem to test your resistance and your faith. And that's exactly what we're going to explore now. The 7 invisible marks that God places on those who have been separated by him. These marks are not physical, but they are real. They cannot be seen by natural eyes, but those who have spiritual discernment can recognize them without difficulty. The first of these may have been manifesting itself in your life for a long time, and perhaps you never realized it. One of the most striking characteristics of the chosen ones is that their simple presence can bother the wrong people. Have you ever felt like some people move away from you for no apparent reason? Or that certain individuals seem uncomfortable around you, as if there is something about you that disturbs them? This doesn't happen by chance. Toxic, manipulative, or jealous people feel exposed when they are close to their chosen ones. Its essence, even without you saying anything, reveals the falsehood and hidden intentions of those who approach it with ulterior motives. It's as if there is a light inside you that makes those who live in darkness unable to hide. In the Gospel of John 3:19-20, it is written, "The light has come into the world, but men loved the darkness rather than the light, because their works were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light and does not come to it, lest his works be exposed." Jesus, on his journey, was rejected by many. He didn't need to directly attack or expose anyone. His very presence was enough to unmask what was hidden. The same happens with those who carry the divine calling, and that's just the first mark. There are 6 others, each more revealing than the last. Some may explain strange events you have experienced. Others may confirm what, deep down, you always suspected. But before we continue, are you really prepared to discover the other brands? Because after what comes next, you may never look at your life the same way again. If you feel like there's something different about you, if you've noticed that certain people pull away for no reason, or that God has been guiding you in mysterious ways, then maybe you're part of that special group, the chosen ones. But now, I want to hear from you. Prove that you are paying attention to the signs and write in the comments, "I am a chosen one." This way, you not only confirm your commitment to your purpose, but also connect with others who share this journey. And as recognition for your comment, we at the channel Kingdom Codes, let's like your comment. Oh, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content that can help you understand your calling even more. Have you ever felt something strange before a situation happened? As if a silent voice inside you is trying to warn you about something, even for no apparent reason? Or have you ever had a dream so vivid that days later it came true? This is not just a hunch or any coincidence. This is one of the deepest marks of the chosen ones, a spiritual sensitivity that goes beyond the natural, a special discernment that God grants to those who have been separated for a greater purpose. The chosen ones do not only see with their eyes, but also with their spirit. They pick up signals that go unnoticed by most. This perception is not limited to grandiose events. Often, they are small details, a sudden discomfort, an inexplicable peace before making a decision, or even a seemingly casual encounter that ends up changing everything. When the Holy Spirit guides, nothing is by chance. In the Bible, Joseph, son of Jacob, was a clear example of this gift. God used it to interpret dreams and reveal the future, preparing Egypt for years of famine. But before that, Jose already felt in his heart that there was something different about his life, and this sensitivity was not well received by everyone. His own brothers envied him and tried to silence him by throwing him into a well. However, when God marks someone for a purpose, neither betrayal, injustice, nor time can stop the promise from being fulfilled. This sensitivity can manifest itself in several ways. Sometimes it's a warning about someone who seems trustworthy, but something inside you tells you there's something wrong. Other times, it is a clear direction to act or wait, even when everything seems uncertain. This can be seen as an advantage, but it also brings challenges. After all, seeing beyond what others see can make you feel out of place, as if you speak a language that few understand. And this feeling of not belonging is another mark of the chosen ones. From an early age, many realize that they are different. They don't follow the crowd. They don't fit into the world's standards. They don't feel comfortable with empty conversations or superficial goals. While many chase status, power, or fleeting pleasures, the chosen feel a calling to something greater. There is a restlessness within them, a search for meaning that cannot be filled by anything earthly. Jesus spoke about this when he said that his kingdom was not of this world. In Philippians, it is written that our true homeland is in heaven. And this truth burns in the hearts of the chosen ones. They know, even if they can't explain it, that they were made for something beyond what their eyes can see. But this difference is not always well received. On the contrary, it bothers you. Those chosen attract attention, often unintentionally. Some people feel inspired by them, but others feel uncomfortable, threatened. Not because of something they do, but because of what they represent. Because light always exposes what is hidden. Jesus faced this in his time. He was perfect in love, yet he was rejected, persecuted, and hated by many. Why? Because his presence confronted those who preferred to remain in darkness. If even he went through this, why would it be any different for those who follow him? Being chosen does not mean having an easy life. On the contrary, it often means facing challenges that others will never face. But it also means carrying a promise that few will carry. It means knowing that every fight has a purpose, that every tear waters a future prepared by God. And that's why you're here now. Because somehow you feel like there is something bigger about your life. Something that you may not yet be able to fully understand, but that pulses within you. What if everything you've been through so far was just preparation for what God has in store? Have you ever thought that every challenge, every pain, and even closed doors could have been part of a bigger plan? Nothing in your life happens by chance. Each experience shaped you. Each twist had a purpose, even if, at the time, it wasn't easy to see. God works in ways that we often don't understand right away, but when we look back, we can see that He was guiding us all along. And one of the ways God guides the chosen ones is through signs. Small events, everyday moments that carry divine messages, directions that can only be understood by those who are spiritually attentive. The world calls this a coincidence, but for those who have been separated by God, it is clear that these are answers from above. The Bible is full of examples of this. God communicated with Joseph through dreams, sent an angel to Mary, bringing the greatest revelation, and guided the wise men with a star. Likewise, He continues to speak to His chosen ones today. But have you been paying attention? How many times has something stopped you from following the wrong path? Or did an inexplicable feeling make you change your mind at the last moment? Spiritual discernment is not just any gift, it is a privilege given by God so that His children do not walk in darkness. And if you've experienced something like this, it's a clear sign that you carry this mark. The chosen ones do not walk without direction, because God illuminates their steps, even when the path seems uncertain. Have you ever had that strong feeling that you needed to leave a place, or that unshakable conviction that something would work, even when everything said otherwise? This is not just intuition, it is the voice of God speaking to your heart. But there is something even more powerful. When a chosen one prays, things happen. Not because there is anything special in his words, but because his connection with God is deep. When a chosen one bends the knee, the sky moves. It is not a simple request, it is a dialogue with the Creator, a delivery that breaks barriers and transforms realities. James writes that the prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective, and this is another unmistakable mark. The chosen ones do not just pray out of habit, they pray because they know that every word spoken before God has an eternal impact. When you pray, you are not just expressing desires, you are activating the supernatural. You are calling into existence that which cannot yet be seen. And the results are undeniable. Situations change, answers arrive, miracles happen. This doesn't mean that everything will be easy or instantaneous, but it does mean that nothing will be in vain. Even when the answer seems delayed, God is working behind the scenes. And those who trust do not give up, because they know that at the right time, God's will prevail. Now stop for a moment and think, how many times has your prayer brought an unexpected answer? How many times have you seen God act in ways that no one else could have done? If your faith has already moved mountains, if your dedication has already brought transformations, then know that this doesn't happen to everyone. This happens to those who have been called to something greater. Those chosen carry invisible marks within themselves that distinguish them from others. These marks are clear signs that your life is not random, but part of a divine plan. Can you recognize them? Throughout this journey, did you notice how each of them manifests itself in your story? But there is something even more important. What will you do with this knowledge? God does not call anyone by chance. If He chose you, it is because He has a specific purpose for you. And now that you understand this truth, how will you respond to this call? But this choice does not mean that the path will be easy. On the contrary, the greater the calling, the greater the challenges. Have you ever noticed how those who carry a divine mission face intense trials? This is no coincidence. It is the necessary preparation so that you are ready to live what God has planned. And the big question is, are you willing to follow this calling? This is no time to hesitate. God does not choose those who settle down, but rather those who are willing to stand up, face challenges, and trust Him at every step of the way. Maybe you've felt it in your heart, a deep desire to go further, to do something meaningful, to leave an impact that transcends this life. This is a sign that God is shaping you for something greater, and when He shapes, He also empowers. The chosen ones go through deserts, face storms, deal with persecution, but they are never alone. Every fight you have ever faced was not in vain. Every tear shed, every night you wondered if it was worth continuing, every door that closed, it was all part of the training. God does not allow battles without purpose. If He has allowed you to go through trials, it is because He is strengthening you for what lies ahead. And when you stand firm, something powerful happens. The marks that God places on those He chooses begin to become more evident. People around you notice something different, the way you face challenges, how you stay standing when everyone around you falls apart, how you find strength even when everything seems lost. This isn't just resilience, it's God's grace working in your life. As it is written in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." So don't ignore the signs. If you have been facing battles that seem greater than you can bear, remember that God will never allow you to carry a burden greater than you can bear. Each test is an opportunity for growth. Each obstacle is a step towards something greater. But to get there, you need to be willing to trust, move forward and stand firm. Now is the time to take a stand, to strengthen your faith like never before, to seek God not just with words but with actions, to give yourself completely without reservations, without fears, because those whom God chooses, He also sustains. And if He called you, He will empower you. It is no coincidence that you are hearing this message now. God is calling you to a new level, to a time of transformation, to a journey where you will not walk alone. But you need to take the first step. If you feel like this word is for you, then don't ignore it. Pray, seek, prepare, because the best is yet to come. And when the storm passes, you will look back and understand that every fight was worth it. Now that you understand the size of the call that God has placed on your life, the question is, what are you going to do with it? Many listen, few act. Have you ever realized that you are not like others, that there is something different about you? But the difference is not just in what you know, but in what you do with that knowledge. If you really understand that you were chosen for something greater, prove it right now. Write in the comments, "I am chosen for great things." This is not just a statement, it is a commitment. Channel nodes, kingdom messages. Let's recognize your determination by leaving a like on your comment. And don't stop here. If God has spoken to you today, then this is just the beginning. There is much more waiting for you. Watch the 2 videos on the screen now, as each of them will bring even more revelations about the purpose that God has for your life. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You are part of something much bigger than you imagine. Let's go on this journey together. May God bless your journey, and may these marks become clearer every day, strengthening your faith and the purpose He has for your life.